Hey world, meet Grizzly Bear. Just a few months ago he was starving, shivering, and very quickly dying on the streets of Brooklyn, New York. And look at him now, safe and sound and ready to be adopted to his forever home. Alright, it's story time, but first I want to introduce you to someone else real quick. And this is Bee. She's from Puerto Rico. She was rescued after the hurricane that devastated the island. She was found in a house by herself alone. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. She's got 7 puppies. Only one of them has been adopted. Maybe I'll put their pictures on screen. Or maybe not, because puppies are really easy to adopt. And adult dogs are harder to adopt. And people are still fucking racist, if you can believe it or not, with black animals. I don't even think that counts as a thing. I don't know if it's a racism or just being a fucking idiot, but people are discriminatory against animals because of their fur color. But Bee is a sweetheart and she's up for adoption, but not before she's done nursing her puppies. But if you want to apply, just leave a comment and I'll get in touch with you with details. Nice Bee? You're so sweet.
And this is Loki. He's not up for adoption. My roommate already saved his life. I just wanted you to meet him so you see how many wonderful animals there are out there for you to adopt. Don't shop for. There are an estimated 70 million homeless cats in the US alone. No one knows how many dogs. And when you buy an animal, you're contributing to that problem. You're paying people to breed animals into existence when there are already so many who don't have a home. And many of the animals that get bred never find a home and end up in shelters. About 3 million dogs and cats a year have a lethal injection put into their paws. About 8,000 a day, or 1 every 10 seconds, and that's just in the United States. Never mind the rest of the world, and never mind the uncountable number of animals who die on the streets every day. Now, you can't easily personally save 150 of those animals a year. Definitely not for free. It takes time and money to rescue animals. So how can you save 150 animals for free? And possibly even save money doing it? I'm gonna get to that, but first I wanna tell you Grizzly Bear's story. If you wanna skip to the secret, it'll be at this time code somewhere, here somewhere. All right, so let me tell you Grizzly's story. So a couple months ago, on a Friday night, I was headed to the gym, which is lucky for this guy because I don't normally go to the gym on Fridays, but missed the day before, so I wanted to make up my gains. And, you know, I'm thinking it's been a long week. I'm just gonna go to the gym, get a quick workout, and then go home, relax, you know, hit the vaporizer, work on some music or a video or something, and just chill. But as I'm walking there, I see a kitten on the sidewalk. And being a normal human being, I slow down to say hi to the kitten. And immediately I'm like, this is weird because, you know, it's New York City, there's almost no houses. The street, there was 1 house on the street. So my first instinct was to go up, knock on that door, because I'm thinking if this is your cat, you know, he's either lost or you're being extremely irresponsible letting him out because there's traffic on the street. It's really cold outside. Grizzly was clearly in distress, being cold, being hungry, and kind of, you know, clearly needed help when he came up to me. No answer on the door that I ring on. Nobody around. I ask a few people. You know, half an hour goes by. I'm just there trying to figure out what to do. This cat, you know, he keeps just rubbing on my leg, being a sweetheart. And that's by the way, one of the morals of the story. This cat was saved by his sweetness because, I mean, he came up to me, and there's a lot of cats on the streets in New York, and a lot of them are feral. And if I had gone up to them, they'd probably run away from me. But Grizzly came up to me, clearly, immediately, obviously apparent, he's been raised by humans. This is not a street cat. He clearly doesn't know how to survive on the street. So what does somebody do in a situation like that? I mean, I don't know what other people do. Myself, I kind of put up the bat signal. Luckily my phone still had some battery, so I log on to Vegans of New York, the Facebook group, and just ask, okay, who's got a pet carrier? Because first things first, I gotta get this guy off the street. Back then it was still really cold, you know, even for me with a jacket on. This guy was bony, and was, you know, clearly hadn't eaten enough. Luckily, a couple of people came through, and I ended up going to somebody who I was friends with on Facebook. Actually, I met him one time in real life, Mikey D, awesome animal rights activist here from New York. He's doing a huge amount to save animals, and thank you, Mikey, for hooking me up with the carrying case. Took the subway out to see him, came back. Luckily, Grizzly was still there. I mean, I wasn't really surprised. I bought some cat food along the way, jiggled the box, got him into it, and I just told him, I got you. Just told him I got you. From that moment, I knew, you know, no matter what happens afterwards, this cat's gonna be safe, because I'm not gonna let anything bad happen to him. So I got him home and immediately started trying to clean him, which was the funniest, cutest experience ever, because anyone who knows cats knows that they really hate being dirty. They're super clean animals and they clean themselves all the time. But Grizzly, he stank. He was really stanking. So his reaction to me cleaning him was hilarious. On the one hand, you know, cats don't like, I just had a wet towel basically and tried to rub him down with that. And on one hand, cats don't like that. They don't like, you know, water necessarily. On the other hand, he was so grateful to finally get all the dirt off him. And so he was just making the weirdest sounds I can't even describe. It wasn't like, he was like half angry at me, but half grateful at the same time. I mean, that's funny. I later found out from someone at the rescue group that when animals stop cleaning themselves like that, it normally means they're on the verge of death. They've essentially, you know, they've come close to giving up on life, which is really sad to know, you know, that's where he was. Anyway, got him home, and thank dog, got in touch with a group called Brooklyn Animal Action, which is a group that's just actively rescuing, saving lives on the streets in New York. I signed him onto their care, so I immediately essentially became his foster caregiver. And Brooklyn Animal Action paid for his vet visits, got him taken to the vet, and he had to have dental surgery soon after. He had parasites, and he's just come around so much. He's improved so much. Brooklyn Animal Action had him professionally cleaned, and now he's spick and span, and like any healthy cat, he's cleaning himself all the time. As far as what he's like, people are interested in adopting him, like I said, loves people. This guy, every single night when I go to sleep, I tap the bed, he jumps up and just becomes Little Spoon. Like he just jumps in to like sleep in my lap, and I wake up, he's either right there, he's somewhere nearby in the bed, or he's using my legs. Like, you know, if you sleep in a fetal position like I do, he's using my legs, like he's spooning in my legs. So he's just super, super affectionate. As far as getting along with dogs and cats, I would say it depends. You need to introduce him to your dog or cat if you want a companion, but he wants to be around cats. Like, he often begs me to go outside and play with Loki. So if you're looking for a companion for your cat, Grizzly might be perfect, but you gotta let them introduce him first. And so bear in mind, there's no responsibility. If you want to introduce them, you can. If it doesn't work out, I'll take Grizzly back. Now, for anyone wondering, hey, if he's such an awesome cat and you care about animals so much, why don't you just keep him? Trust me, I've thought about that a lot, and of course, I love him already, but there are two main reasons why I'm looking for a better home for him, which I explain in the comments below. I'm trying to keep this video from getting too long. By now you're probably wondering, how does this all connect to saving 150 animals for free? You know, I can't fit 150 cats into my apartment. What is this guy, loco? No, the title of this video was not clickbait. I'm dead serious about how you can save that many animals every single year for free. And I'll explain how you might be able to even save money by doing it in a second. Saving this guy was not free. Brooklyn Animal Action's covering his veterinary costs. I'm covering his food costs. Had to get, you know, a litter box. There's no denying it costs money to bring an animal into your family. You gotta be ready for that. But I'm talking about saving animals for free. So how does that work? You ready for the magic trick? Abracadabra. Stop paying people to torture and kill them so you can eat their dead bodies. The average person eats between 100 and 200 animals a year. That's why I titled the video 150, just to make it an average. Now hold on there, guy, as once again, you suck at math. So you just tried to calculate the exact number of animals that people eat every year and then average that out. But what you're forgetting about is that in order to grow those animals, it takes land. And because it takes 3 to 18 times as much land to grow animal food as opposed to plant-based food, animal eaters are responsible for an enormous amount of unnecessary habitat destruction, species extinction, and damage to the Earth's climate. So you can't just take into account the cows, pigs, chickens, and fish that people eat. You gotta think about the exotic and endangered species, including ones we haven't even discovered yet, that exist in those rainforests that we're slashing and burning to the ground for horrible hamburgers. Especially when we all know Beyond Meat's way better. And they didn't pay me to say that. On the flip side, because it takes so much less land to feed someone who's living off a plant-based diet than an animal-based diet, if you decide to make the switch to a cruelty-free diet, what happens in all that space that you no longer require to feed yourself is that habitat can grow back for all those endangered species, and at the same time, as the plants come back to life, they remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, being possibly one of our only hopes to survive the climate emergency. All right, back to you. So just like that, you stop eating them over the course of a year, you're gonna be responsible for saving that many lives. Now, if you've got a problem with my logic and you feel let down because when I said save 150 animals, you thought I meant some random species that we happen to consider pets and not some random other species that we think deserve to be caged, tortured, and killed, I challenge you to give me one reason why grizzly deserves any more or less to die on the street or to be rescued versus any random pig or any random cow. Oh, but that's a pet, it's not the same thing. Yeah, you say that's a pet. That's completely subjective. Some people have pigs as pets. Objectively speaking, there is no meaningful difference. All animals that have a nervous system and a brain, so all mammals, all fish, all birds, sense pain and pleasure in extremely similar ways. We have the same basic nervous system. We have the same basic brain functions. If you want to say that humans are superior because we have a higher intellectual capacity, first of all, that's a maybe. The jury's still out on whether whales and dolphins might be of equal or even greater intelligence than us, but that's for another video. But second of all, okay, so let's just assume that humans are the most intelligent species on the planet. That means if you were to get tortured or cut or almost killed, but you survived, yeah, you could write a song about it, you could write a poem about it. Well, actually, whales could write songs about it too, to be honest, so that doesn't even differentiate us really. There really is no difference. That's the basis behind the name the trait challenge that Ask Yourself and Vegan Gains have been promoting so brilliantly throughout YouTube, and they've smashed and destroyed so many people in debates as a result, because nobody can name the trait that differentiates humans from other species. That means that we could totally be fine abusing, sexually molesting, and killing all these other animals, but oh, it's wrong when you do it to a human. Bullshit. And by the way, there's cats on the streets who are not and who never were anybody's pets. Does that mean they deserve to be tortured to death and eaten? Why or why not? There's actually people who are trying to kidnap those cats off the streets of New York in order to kill them and eat them. Does that outrage you? Why? Why is that wrong? If you already don't eat animals, then I understand your rage. Vegan power. But if you do eat animals and one completely equally sentient species being killed over another outrages you, then I think you're already vegan at heart. You just need to stop suppressing the logic that your brain knows is true, the compassion that you already have inside you, and the love that you know you could feel for these animals that we're eating. I mean, look at them, they're fucking adorable. As far as the title of this video I said, and how you might be able to save money doing it, whether you save money or spend more money on a plant-based diet entirely depends on what you want to eat. Just like there's specialty luxury foods that are made out of animals, there's specialty luxury foods that are made out of plants. So you could end up spending more if you only buy that stuff, but if you are like me and you're in debt and you're trying to save money, then you will save money on a plant-based diet. There's no doubt that pound for pound, gram for gram, plant-based protein is cheaper than dead animals. If you're already vegan and you're watching this and you're let down because you're like, man, I already don't eat animals, but I want to do more. There's so much fucked up shit happening in the world to so many innocent beings, and you don't have, for example, $50 to buy half an acre of rainforest, which is one of the greatest things you could do for life on Earth, because in that half acre of rainforest, there's an uncountable number of beings that live, plants and animals, of life there, many of them endangered species that you're saving by preventing it from being slashed and burned, often for cow plantation. If you don't have any money to spare, but you still want to do more good for animals, I have one magic word for you: politics. As vegans, we often focus on the supermarket and fashion district as the main sources of animal cruelty, and we don't think about the city halls, the parliaments, the White Houses of the world, and how much suffering or how much good they can do for animals. Just to give you a real quick example, the last legitimately elected president of the United States, Barack Obama, during his 8 years in office, saved 585 million acres of earth and ocean. Billions of animals live within them. That's forests that are not being cut down. That's enormous areas of ocean where industrial fishing is now banned. So Obama probably has saved more animals' lives than anyone in human history. He's not even vegan. That's really ironic. But that's all the result of, you know, everyone who pushed for the Democrats in 2008 and 2012 helped put him into power. And once he was in power, helped push him to do better for the environment. Incredible job. Obama also made the biggest greenhouse gas reductions in human history twice over with the Clean Power Plan and with doubling the fuel efficiency of American vehicles, which segues into so-called President Trump, who has canceled the Clean Power Plan, canceled Obama's increase of fuel efficiency on American vehicles. So we're talking about enormous quantities of greenhouse gases are going to be burned. The ways that Trump is killing animals could make its own, books could be written about this, videos are coming about this. One that I made shortly after he tragically became president, Donald Trump versus the Animal Kingdom. I'll put up on the screen, you can watch it there, but a lot more is coming, cataloging that. There's also articles that you can read about it, but there's so much there. Anyway, I'm gonna get that all in upcoming videos. In fact, coming next is an attack on Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, who many think is a lot better than Trump, but when it comes to animals, he's responsible for subsidizing Canadians to club baby seals to death, for supporting the dog fur industry. So I'm gonna go after him for that. If you wanna help make future videos like that possible, and even have a hand in the creative side of producing them, then check out the rewards on my Patreon page. If you wanna help get this message out for free, then hit that like and subscribe button. That changes YouTube's algorithm, doesn't cost a thing, but it helps get this video into more hearts and minds out there. And if you wanna get something out of it, these awesome Humanimal Alliance shirts are up for grabs. I'm gonna explain fully what the Humanimal Alliance is in an upcoming video, but essentially 10% of all the money raised through it will go to saving habitat in the rainforest, like I was explaining earlier. 10% will go to animal sanctuaries, which I believe are extremely important for helping open people's minds and hearts to seeing animals as friends, not food. And the other 80% will go to producing content to reach people's hearts and minds so that we don't need to buy land in the rainforest to save it, because if people are eating fewer cows or no cows, then there won't be slashing and burning of the Amazon. In fact, the Amazon will be able to grow back into the land that was once pasture land, etc. Same thing, there wouldn't be as much of a need for sanctuaries if we're not paying to support the ongoing slaughter of animals every year. So there's t-shirts, there's hoodies, check them out. And that's all she wrote. Sorry for such a long video. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon, whatever it is for you.